Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food for Thoughtcast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan, and my co-host with the most, Chef Steven Gonzalez. What's up, Steve?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I am stoked. Today we are talking to Chef Gregory Leone from Amilinda in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. What's up, Chef?
Not much. How are you guys? Thank you for the invite.
Fantastic. Thank you for being here. Yeah, this is a wonderful Monday. Most chefs have the day off. I don't know if that's the case for you guys, but
We do. The
Nice.
restaurant's only open Wednesday through Saturday. So
let's go.
Nice.
Are you hiring?
not right now. I'll let you know.
I wash dishes. It's always been a dream of mine to live somewhere with stupid amounts of snow. That's just sarcasm, but yeah.
This is the first time I've lived anywhere where there was a real winter. The first one was pretty cool. It gets really old really fast. I like to tell everybody. So when I came to visit Milwaukee in 2012, I came in August, and it's amazing in the summer. It's probably one of the greatest places to be in the summer. So, immediately I was like, oh, I'm moving here. I tell my guests that if I would come to visit in February, they probably would not be eating at Amilinda, Milwaukee.
Crazy.
The snow is gross.
Snow is really gross.
It's fun, but after that, no.
Yeah.
For like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's insane. So those of us who are, have been around this pod for a little bit, or our regular listeners will know that I moved here from Texas. Who, when we have snow there, it's historic. Historic, and usually people are kind of harmed. And then
it's usually like an inch of snow too, isn't it? Like people freak out when it's just very little.
The state shuts down.
I think in 2021 we had like 13 inches and the entire state shut down. It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
Like historically every county in Texas had snow on the ground at the same time for the first time ever. And then I moved to North Carolina, where I didn't think I would have to own a snow shovel. We've had 3 winter events since I moved. So it could be me.
Yeah, you guys just had one recently, like last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So good times. Well, Chef, please, we start every episode by asking each other and our guest what was the most amazing thing you ate this week. You mind if I put you in the hot seat?
Go ahead.
Let's go. I want to hear it.
The most amazing thing I had this week. I got to think about this for a second. I went to a brand new restaurant that opened in Milwaukee. I won't say their name because I'm not going to give them any free advertising, but they had a really good
I like
celery root salad that was pretty outstanding. So that was the most amazing thing I ate this week. Well, that, and we made blood orange sorbet at the restaurant. That was pretty good too.
Nice. Tell me more about the celery root salad. So, like, how was it prepared, and what did it have on it?
Well, the restaurant is a French bistro, or a French bistro. So it's like your classic celery root, like cut into little on the mandolin. And then what else? There was apple, some nuts, which I don't remember what they are now. I want to say walnuts. And then it had like a lemon vinaigrette that was really refreshing.
Oh, that sounds so good. Kind of does all the classic things you would put with celeriac. And
correct.
I like it.
And
kind of like those wintry flavors.
I feel like celery root gets a bad name. It's very underused.
Oh yeah.
I love like a celery root and parsnip puree just at the house. I like a little curry in mine. That's kind of the direction.
Nice.
I like warm spices or like garam masala or something like that. I like it. So
that sounds really good.
The Brits could never.
Spring, like that sounds really, really good.
Yeah.
Get away from like all the heavy braised stuff. Have like a salad. Oh,
not soon enough.
Yeah.
What was the most amazing thing you guys had this week?
Steve, you go first.
You always go last.
Fine, I'll go. So yesterday I tried a new little spot new to me in town called the Pickled Onion. So I've lived here for about a year, but was super busy opening a restaurant, so haven't gone out much places. But I'm making my way through town little by little, meal by meal. Had a really amazing blackened ahi tuna. It was cooked perfect rare. It had like a really good cucumber and teriyaki slaw and some sesame seeds. In a week full of just peanut butter and jelly and Cheerios, like it was pretty amazing. So yeah, scraping by, cleaning the freezer out. It was pretty phenomenal.
I feel yeah.
Like, have I had better tuna? Yes. Was this a diamond in the rough in a place where I thought I wasn't going to find food open late and good? Yeah.
Totally. Oh, they were open late. That's a plus.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, I found a new after work place. Great.
Yeah.
So, Steve, how about you?
The other day, my wife and I went to go eat at a restaurant called Santo Mar, and they've got like a paloma, but instead of doing like grapefruit, it's tangerine juice, and
Ooh.
I absolutely love it. And of course, even though it's like more of a Mexican restaurant, like they do like the sushi rolls, things like that. So they had like a ceviche roll and whatnot. A lot of avocado, a lot of fresh ingredients, fish. They had some scallops on that thing. Man, it was good. And of course, my wife loves calamari, so anytime that she sees it on the menu, she's like, "We got to try it." So, yeah, definitely worth.
Does she like fried calamari or just cooked anyway?
She likes it. I mean, typically it's always fried,
Yeah.
But I'm sure she'd be open to any other way too.
Okay.
I like a brown butter and like a sliced pepperoncinis, like a pan calamari sometimes, like a saute. So
out of my area, a lot of the time it's just deep fried, and then of course they offer like the aioli, more of like a marinara dipping sauce. But that's whatever. I mean, that's the easiest, safest way to go. So, but finding someone who can actually pull it off right, that's a challenge.
Yeah,
that poor calamari, it gets killed every time they throw it in the fryer.
Yep.
Well, Chef Greg, like, what's your favorite calamari preparation, or have you ever changed anybody's mind about the classic preparation?
Yeah, I feel like somebody at the restaurants had it the way we prepared, and I was like, oh my God, I love this more than. At the restaurant, we'll do it either coat it in some spices and then just throw it on the flat top and do a salad with that. Or we will grab the bodies whole and then make a mixture with some chorizo, breadcrumbs, the tentacles chopped up, some sauteed onions, and then stuff the bodies with that. And then, tie the little end with a toothpick and then dip it in a mixture of beaten egg with a little bit of flour and then fry it like that.
Like a relleno?
Yeah, like we fill
the
bodies.
My gosh, that sounds so good.
Nice.
They're pretty tasty. Sometimes, they'll explode in the fryer. So my poor fry guy, but people love it. It's pretty popular.
He's like just like scraping like burnt chorizo bits out of
there. Or like it pops at him and he burns his hand a little bit.
Oh, dangerous. Dangerous.
A little bit.
Well, Chef, I want to know, I've read a little bit about Amilinda, but I want to hear in your own words kind of like, how did your culinary journey start? Was it a grandmother? Was it your mom? What was going on there?
So I grew up in Venezuela. I was born in Oklahoma. When I was 5, I moved to Venezuela. That's where my father's from. Venezuela, Latin country, very macho oriented. Cooking is for women. Women are in the kitchen kind of situation. So I didn't really get to hang out in the kitchen that much. My dad's mom was a really good cook. My mother was an amazing cook, especially baker. Every now and then I could hang out in the kitchen and see what she was doing. But for the most part, it was like go outside and play kind of situation. But food was always something that interested me. I would grab my mother's cookbooks and hide in my bedroom and read them. And
I love that.
I moved back to the U.S. in 1989. And my dad being old school was like, you have to go to college. So I went to college and did poorly because I was studying business and it's not what I was really interested in. And I got kicked out of school in 1992. I got put on probation and then I was kind of floundering for a little bit, not knowing what I was going to do. And I came across this show that used to be on the Discovery Channel called Great Chefs. I don't know if you're familiar with it. And so it's like they had great chefs of the Midwest and great chefs of California and great chefs of the Caribbean. And it was an hour show. They had 3 chefs. One would do a starter, one would do an entree, one would do a dessert. But you were not getting measurements. You weren't getting quantities. It wasn't a show for you to learn how to make the dish. They barely even interacted with the camera. They didn't say anything. There was a voice, a lady's a very smooth, calming voice, and she would kind of describe what the chef was doing. But it was kind of like, it was a very early, hey, look at how this works in a kitchen kind of show. And I remember watching that show and being like, holy crap, that's what I want to do. But, we're talking again, 1992. So being a chef or restaurant owner was not cool. In fact, the day I told my dad I wanted to be a chef, I also came out of the closet to him. He was more upset about my career choice than he was about me being gay.
Wow.
Yeah. And so and then I had lunch with a friend. This is right after Thanksgiving in '94. I had lunch with a friend who had just been in San Francisco, and he's like, "If you're really serious about this career path, you need to get the hell out of Oklahoma. You need to go to New York or San Francisco." '94. Those are the big culinary cities that everybody knew about.
Mm.
And so I was like, "You're crazy. I don't have any money. What's wrong with you? I don't know anybody in these cities." I went home, thought about it, and I was like, "Okay, I'll go to San Francisco because it's California. It'll be warm." I didn't know about Northern California. And I got on a bus. I had about $500, $600 in my pocket. Didn't know anybody, had never been there, had no job, no place to live. And 2 days later, I got off in downtown San Francisco to very cold, pouring rain and thought to myself, what have I done? But that was the beginning of it.
Wow.
That's an incredible journey.
Yeah.
No shade to Oklahoma. I used to live in Texas. It was my neighbor, right? But I'm like, I couldn't agree more. Like, there's not enough food scene there. There might be now, like in Oklahoma
now
City.
There is. In fact, we have gotten invited to go back to Tulsa, which is where I was born, and I have family who still lives there, to go cook at one of the restaurants that was nominated for a James Beard this year.
Mm.
Really? I can't remember the name of it. Well, they're semifinalists because they haven't announced the finalists yet. But yeah, Oklahoma's got a few good restaurants. But yeah, I got to San Francisco. I slept in the park for a few days because I had nowhere to live. And my first job was I walked by this restaurant and I was like, "Oh, this place looks really cool. I love the building." Knew nothing about the San Francisco food scene. Went in, put in an application, lied on the application, said I had tons of experience, which I had zero. They called me back a few days later and I got the job, and they fired me 90 days after that because
I was going to say, you fake your way through.
I faked my way into Zuni Cafe, which is a fairly well-known restaurant in San Francisco. Yeah. And I went home that night because by the time I got the job, I'd already found a place to live there. This guy had a house and he rented rooms. So I went home that afternoon after I got the job, and I got this job at this place called Zuni, and they were both like, "That place is amazing." And I was like, "Okay, I don't know what this is." I was just talking about the chef the other day. She has passed away, but that woman used to make me cry all the time.
Wow.
God bless
That's insane.
That takes a lot of courage, just to pick up and go, especially if you know nobody in the area. That's awesome.
Yeah, but when you're 24, you think you can conquer the world, and you're like, "I can do this."
Not me. Crazy. Not when I was 24. Really? I was still scared.
I was like, "I'm going to do this." And
at 40, awesome. About every 30 days, I go, "I don't have this figured out. This is hard."
Every now and then, I'll be at the restaurant and it's like, "Oh, this is the day they're going to figure out I've been faking it." Fake it till But I'd like to think at least that part of my life I've got down and I know what I'm doing.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how it started. I just, my plan was to go to the California Culinary Academy. But I was like, I'll work and save up some money. And by my third job, I was like, I'm learning on the job. I'm not going to go to school. So I never went. I was very lucky though, that chefs would take me in and be like, "Okay, we'll teach you how to do stuff." There's 90 cases of those of corn or whatever. So I feel like San Francisco was meant to be.
It's less likely now, right? Because a lot of times that degree just gets your foot in the door, or it gets you like that first job. But I talked somebody out of going to school the other day. I was like, "Listen, like at age 40, I'm in a massive pile of debt for this piece of paper. Now, did the piece of paper get me my first job? Yeah, but then the first job got me the second, and the second got me the third, and so on and so forth." And I'm like, it's the interest, my guy. Like it's predatory, like
Yeah, do not. I was just talking to somebody at work. Oh, one of my sous chef was talking to me the other day because he said something about having to pay off his school loans. And he also didn't go to school for cooking. He was going to school for something completely different and just kind of fell into cooking. And he's, one of the most amazing cooks I've ever had at Amilinda. But he was talking about, I was like, "How much is your, student loan?" And he told me, it's like, "Oh God, that's so much money." That's like, ugh.
Yeah. No. I think about what I could have had with it, like a house or a different car or whatever.
2 restaurants, maybe.
Or just like not dead, right?
Not dead. That would be nice. Not dead.
Not dead.
But had you not gone to culinary school, we would have never met, Melissa.
Yeah, that's right. So Steve and I went to culinary school together, and then something like 20 years later, I asked him to be a guest on the podcast, and the rest is history. Then we became co-hosts. He was like, he was like recurring guest enough times where like, "You just want to make it official.
They want
like,
a job on
pay you, but like." Would you like a hobby that requires a whole bunch of time and pays nothing? Boy, do I have an opportunity for you.
The best part is just led to a lot of good conversation.
Yeah, it's really
and then
cool.
we've gotten to meet great people such as yourself,
Such
Greg.
as yourself, right?
Thank you.
So one of the reasons why we started the podcast is because we wanted to break down the barriers between, the home cook or the person who's watching Food Network, the maybe a different part of the hospitality industry where we think like there's not room at the table for everybody, or like maybe everybody's not in the same conversation. But like, I love doing this because I want people to get to know you, and maybe there's that person listening out there that's like, I've been thinking about getting in the business, but I don't know where to start. But like, it's just like another little, it's the butterfly effect, right? It's another little ripple, So yeah, go ahead.
If somebody is thinking about getting into the business, I'm like, don't do it.
I
shouldn't say that. If you're going to get into it for the right reasons.
Yeah. I mean, it takes like, fame isn't it? Money
isn't it either.
So, yeah.
I mean, sometimes, but money isn't it for sure.
It takes a certain breed, and it's not for the faint of heart. So
it is not.
We're all like a little bit cracked, but then we find our people, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Well, hey, chef. So like, tell us all about Amilinda. Like, I would love to know how it started and what was the inspiration. And
so Amilinda started as a pop-up restaurant in December of 2013. I had moved after being in California for 18 years. I just woke up one day and I was like, I'm 42. I've got a roommate who I hate. I'm broke because all my money goes to rent. I'm done. I'm done. But I struggled a lot because in my head, if I left San Francisco without opening my own restaurant, then I was going to be a failure as a chef. And I went and had dinner with a friend of mine, Kimberly, who was also a chef. And we were talking, and I was like, Kimberly, like, the universe is just kicking me in the ass. And, I'm having a really hard time here in California. And I'm not happy. And, I hate the person I live with. So I said, but I can't leave because I'm a failure if I leave. And she says, well, maybe the plan was you came here for 18 years. You learned all this stuff. Now you go someplace else and you take all that knowledge with you. And I was like, oh, okay. I had never thought about it that way. 2 days later, my dog and I packed everything up and we just traveled the U.S. starting like March, I think it was, of 2012 to August of 2012. I went to Venezuela to visit my family, and I had gone to Portland earlier in my travels, and I was going to move to Portland. And then at the end of August, a friend of mine who lives here in Milwaukee was like, you should really come see Milwaukee. And I was like, I have no idea where that is or anything. And I knew nothing about it, like not even the TV show references, nothing. And so I came in August and fell in love with the city. One of my favorite restaurants here had just opened. And we went there for dinner one night and it was packed and everybody, like the food was incredible. I kept thinking, wow, this restaurant could be in San Francisco. So clearly there's a market for good food here. Went outside, smoked, came back inside. And one of the ladies that was eating with us, she's like, you should just stay here and open a pop-up restaurant. I was like, you're drunk. What are you talking about? And I ended up staying here. A year later, I opened a pop-up restaurant, which was called Amilinda. We did that for a year. And then in August of 2015, we opened our doors to where we are now. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary last August. We are inspired by the Iberian Peninsula. So Spain, Portugal, you won't necessarily find the dishes the way they are made classically in those countries. It's more our interpretation or our take on it. We only do dinner. 42 seats, and then we have a chef's counter and a bar. That's super hot. Small staff. There's only 8 of us. All 8 of us work every day the restaurant's open, so we're like a little family. It's named after my parents. So my father, being from Venezuela, his name is Amilcar, so Amilcar. My mother was from Minnesota, and her name was Linda. So Ami is from his name, Linda is hers.
Right. That's cool.
Also, in Venezuela, there is this custom of naming your home. And I'm not talking about like your mansion. Everybody does it. So if you're coming to my house, I would say go down street XYZ, turn left, and then look for the house named whatever. So Amilinda was the name of the home my brothers and I grew up in also.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Cool. Yeah. I was going to ask like which thing came first. And I speak like a fair amount of Spanish, having worked in kitchens for a long time. And I was like, I'm going to ask her what Amilinda means, but like, I don't think like,
if you say it, it's all one word. But if you separate it and you say, Linda, it also means to my beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
but we don't separate it. We pronounce it all together. My parents are almost 100% responsible for my love of food and for teaching me. And I don't think they realized they were teaching us is that like food is something that can bring people together, can strengthen the bond with the family, can can make somebody feel better for like maybe 10 minutes after having a really shitty day.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
wanted to name the restaurant after them. So yeah, I mean, the restaurant's small but mighty. We have a lot of really awesome regulars who love us. 4 James Beard nominations. So the last 10 years have been pretty good.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
I
Thanks.
think that the story of the name is so beautiful on so many different levels. It's so cool. It's like, it's just kismet, right? It's just like, oh, all these things were before you even knew, right? Just meant to
and
be.
for the longest time, when 2 months after I moved here, I met who would become my partner and husband, and now ex-husband, and he would be like, we need a name. So I started working on the business plan before I had a name. And then one day I was just sitting there in the living room and I was like, let's call it Amilinda. People still misspell it sometimes, but I can deal with that.
It happens.
That's the story of the little restaurant. We
It's amazing.
since I started off as a pop-up, when I opened Amilinda, I felt like it was my duty to do the same. So we've hosted a lot of pop-ups. A lot of other chefs and restaurateurs in Milwaukee have come in and pop-ups at Amilinda before they opened their own place. I love a project. So if you walk up to my door and you're like, I've never cooked before, but I want to learn, come on in. Let's cook. Sometimes we have like guests will come in and be like, oh, my wife likes to cook at home, and jokingly I'll be like, come hang out with us. They'll show up the next day. We've got kids. We've had kids come in who are like, oh, I want to be a chef when I grow up, and I was like, cool, come see what it's like. So it's pretty fun.
Oh, if somebody had done that with me, I would have ran so far. I would end up being I don't know, like a secretary somewhere or something.
In an office.
No shade on office work, but I think I would have been so scared. Like, there's only one way it could have happened for me, and that's the way it happened. It's like culinary school and somebody feeding me a dream that wasn't real.
Wasn't real. I like it when, like, especially the kids who come in who are like, oh, this is what I do for a living when I grow up. Because, we're in that space every day. I've been in that space almost every day for the last 10 years. Yeah. So you kind of become immune to it. You don't really notice things.
And it's familiar.
And it becomes a routine. Like, I love what I do and I love my restaurant, but sometimes I'm like, here again. So to have these kids come in and act like you just dropped them off at Disneyland, it's great for us and my kitchen crew, because then we're like, okay, cool. Like, you center yourself, remember where you are, remember what you're doing.
Sometimes it's really like just awe-inspiring to kind of like remind yourself that it's kind of like a Superman costume that we get to wear. And I used to love having like Boy Scout and Girl Scout troops in, and I would like let them whisk a custard for creme brulee, or I would let them do something for the menu, and then they could come back. I would send pictures to the troop leader later and be like, yeah, you're this Boy Scout troop, whatever number, they made this for tonight, and we put it on the menu or whatever it is. Like, it's awesome. It's just like, it's so cool to give back,
Yeah. And again, it helps us kind of, again, get grounded and be like, okay, we're lucky that we get to work at this restaurant and we get to do what we love for a living, what we're passionate about. Not a lot of people can say that.
Some people never figure out what they love to do.
Yeah,
they never
true story.
They just work a job.
Being a small restaurant, a small staff, I would imagine your menu's kind of small and more of a staple, or do you change it often?
Our menu evolves every week.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a very small menu. We have about 5 starters, 6 entrees, and then we'll have 2 to 3 desserts. I remember when I worked for other chefs in California and I was just their little grunt, and your menu doesn't change, let's say, every 4 months. After month 1, you're a robot. You're like on autopilot. You're not really paying attention. So I didn't want that to happen to my crew. I wanted them to always be engaged. I wanted them to always be thinking about food and what we could do. I get bored easily and distracted. So I wanted to do this for myself, so it would keep me engaged. And I wanted to do it for the customers. I think we're the only restaurant in Milwaukee that changes their menu that often. So what'll happen is we'll go in on Wednesday, we'll sit down, we'll look at the menu from last week. I'm like, okay, what did we just put in last week? That's going to stay another week. What's been on for a hot minute? What am I tired of looking at? What's expensive? So we'll put 3 to 4 new dishes on the menu. And then we'll see what we got from the farmers. Oh, we got these great parsnips. How about we put that with the steak instead of whatever it has? So then we'll tweak a couple other ones. Some we'll leave alone because they're good the way they are. But it keeps everybody engaged. One of the other things we do is I don't know everything about Spanish and Portuguese cooking. And after doing this for 30 years, your brain kind of like tends to go back to the same 4 dishes every now and then. So it's a collaborative effort. Like my chef de cuisine, sous chef, and chef de partie all give me input on what's going on the menu. So they'll come to me and they'll say, okay, chef, I saw this dish. What if we do this? So, like I have to kind of guide them a little bit. Well, that's a little too Asian. Let's try to give it more of a Spanish slant, or absolutely not. We're not doing that dish. Or, but I want them to feel like they have some ownership and some pride in what they're doing, which they do. All of their names are on the menu also.
I love that.
I'm pretty secure in my cooking skills and what I can do. So I don't need to take credit for other people's work.
Of course.
So I want to make sure, I try to touch as many tables during the evening and go talk to people. And there's been times when, a table will be raving about a steak dish, which is coming out of my chef de cuisine station. So I'll be like, hey, Raiden, go talk to table 4. They want to talk to you. Because they also, these kids are all young. They're all under the age of 25, all of them. So my chef de cuisine is 23. My sous chef is 21, and my chef de partie is 24. So
you're giving them the chance of a lifetime. It's not going to get that anywhere else.
No,
a lot of people wouldn't even hire those positions based on those ages.
Probably not. Not. But they're very talented. They're very passionate. On Saturday nights when I'm done, I'll go sit at the bar and I'll be talking to guests and stuff. And my chef de partie will come to me and be like, okay, for next week. And I was like, dude, we literally just closed 5 minutes ago. Like, give me a day of not talking about food. Don't lose that excitement, please.
Yeah, that's right. That's really something. Like that passion is incredible.
Like, give me like 10 minutes. And I mean, I remember when I was like them, like every waking moment, it was like food, food, food. So it's very.
I was gonna say, but when you're empowering them like that, and they got that buy-in, man, I can definitely understand where that excitement, that passion's coming from. It's awesome. Super cool.
For the week of Thanksgiving, we close every year. And last year, it had always been a dream of mine to take everybody on a trip. And over the years, we've had some really great people. And then we've had some people that I don't want to travel with or spend my money on. So finally, last year in August, I looked out and I was like, these are the ones. These are the people. So I took them all to Lisbon for a week.
I was just going to ask, like, when's the Amilinda the research trip where everybody gets to go be immersed?
Well, we all went to Lisbon, from the dishwasher all the way. I mean, everybody went.
I love it.
There was 11 of us. We stayed in an apartment in the old part of Lisbon, 2-story apartment. Like, we had a blast. But the day after we got back, I literally had to sit the kitchen down. I'm like, we can't put all the new dishes on the menu at once. So write some of this stuff down and we'll trickle it out. But yeah, they're so excited about everything. It's great.
I love that. I love that so much. I worked for a very ill-fated tapas place for like a year. It just not great management, like really not the right market for it. But I learned so much. Like we had cochinito, we had cassoulet, like the real one. They flew people over from Segovia to teach us how to make paella, and we had the right rice and all the things. And I never forget the things I learned. Like we were making the albondigas and the real rice pudding and the actual Spanish flan and all this stuff, right? But it was a really incredible experience for me. But I was EC there, had no idea what I was doing. It was way over my head. It wasn't a good outfit to be with. It was just like, meh. But I could never discount that. And what it really instilled in me is like a love for the Spanish stuff. Like now I'm this far many years removed, and I'll still buy like torta bread, and I'll still buy like the good boquerones and like the good olive oil, like, and that's just like, that's like a happy place, even though that experience didn't turn out. The food endured, right?
Now that I look back at my career, and you can learn anything. You can learn you can learn something from just about any place you've worked at, even if it's a really shitty job.
Yeah.
I like to say I've worked with some pretty crazy people. Same. And I look back and I was like, okay, at least from them, what I learned was what not to do. They showed me what not to do when owning a restaurant, what not to do with my staff,
how not to treat people,
treat people. Yes, because we don't yell at Amilinda. We're not yellers or throwers. So
I tell people that people go like, oh, you should go be on Hell's Kitchen, and I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not interested. Secondly, I don't like being yelled at, so I don't yell at people. I worked for Sonic for like 8 months. I was a sous chef during the day.
I love Sonic.
I love Sonic.
The drive-in, the drive-through.
Yeah.
I love Sonic.
Yeah. So for about 8 months, I worked there because I was a sous chef during the day and I cut my hand pretty bad and I needed to pay for stitches. And I took a second job as a fountain. So I was like making limeades, like making shakes and stuff.
Those limeades, those cherry limeades are the best.
Seriously, right? And so, but I learned a lot of things there about systems, about cleanliness, super corporate. I'm like, I can't discount it. I can't.
Yeah.
So, yep.
If you're open-minded and you're paying attention, you can learn just about from any situation you're in.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Absolutely.
I always just tell people, like, just be a sponge. Like, if at the moment that you say I know, that's when you get discounted and people are like, well, I'm not really going to talk to them because they know.
Yeah, that, or like, I like to tell the staff also, the moment people will be like, so we have an open kitchen. And so every single customer walks by us, and more often than not, they're like, oh my God, this is so great. Oh my God, I loved it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm always like, oh, very humble about it, because I feel like we're good, but we're not fantastic yet. And that's just my opinion. I think everybody else thinks we're pretty great. But I think the moment you're like, yeah, I'm fucking kick ass, that's the moment when you start to go downhill. You stop caring about your food. You stop caring about, and I've seen it happen. I had a sous chef come work for me a couple years ago, and great kid. And for the first year he was with me, he would come up to me with dishes and he's like, I'd like to put this on the menu. And I would get angry because I didn't think of that dish. And that was the first time that had ever happened to me in that restaurant. And then he just, from constantly hearing, oh my God, I love this restaurant. Oh my God, I love your food, became complacent and lazy. And so, you also have to be kind of grounded and have 2 good feet on the planet Earth and realize that people might be telling you all the time that you're amazing, but that doesn't mean you can't grow some more.
Well, it's just like this balance between never being able to be satisfied and still like not taking things for granted. Like,
totally.
If you're the person that nothing's ever good enough for you, nobody will want to work for you. But if you're the person that's like inspiring people to, like I like to say, I value progress over perfection. Like if you're just constantly,
100%.
If the only person you're competing against is yourself yesterday, then great. But if it's like nothing will ever be good enough, then maybe you're in the wrong business.
Yeah. And maybe you need to go talk to a therapist.
Yeah.
And it's all about perspective. Like some people like yourself, like we're good, we're not great. Like, yeah, you're keeping yourself humbled. And then you'll have some people who are like, well, I'm still driving to be great. And so there's a lot of different perspectives for pretty much the same opinion, which I think is really good, and that strive, maybe not for perfection, but to just continue to better yourself every single day. That's healthy.
I don't like people with a big head. There's somebody was telling me a story a couple months ago about this cook that works in town. So Milwaukee has a very tight-knit food community. Do all the chefs like each other? No, we're human. There's some of them that I'm like, ew, I don't want to talk to you. But for the most part, we're all friends. We know each other. But this guy, a bartender at another restaurant who's a friend of mine, was on the street, ran into this cook and asked the cook how he was doing. And the cook's like, well, you know me, I'm just putting beasts on the plate. And I was like, that is the worst fucking thing I've heard anybody say in years. I just like, oh God. So that people like that, it's people who treat cooking as a sport really drives me crazy. I mean, everybody's entitled to treat it how they want, but people who treat it as a sport just kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit.
Melissa's heard this story a handful of times, but one of the things that keeps me grounded is when I was in hotels working my way up, there was a kid that was working there and he was very competitive. I'll cook you. And one day he had to do fish and chips and he got frozen fish out of the freezer, straight into the fryer.
Ooh,
greasy,
did he burn himself?
Greasy fillet of fish. I don't remember that part, but then he puts that with potato chips. I'm like, that is why I will
grease
never.
on grease.
The chips. It's the chips part for me.
So
that's hysterical.
Anytime I catch myself getting a little bit of like, yeah, I could do that. I'm like, fish and chips. Let's see your procedure. Let's do this together.
Fish and chips.
And it's a very good mentality, in my opinion, to have for myself because I can't tell you how many times people have said, man, for being a chef, like you're so down to earth. Like, man, I was expecting you to be like this arrogant prick.
Well, and get your teeth kicked in enough times and you'll.
Yeah. I mean, my parents also were very good at teaching us from a young age that nobody is better than anybody else. no matter what your job is or how much money you make or the color of your skin. So I try to be humble, and I try to make sure everybody who works at Amilinda is pretty humble too.
Yeah.
It's a good way to be.
But again, yeah, you give them that, you empower them, you give them that buy-in. Like, yeah, those are the best tools that you can have, and then it's
And
a collaborative
we were
effort.
actually all hanging out last night. It's we're all friends. We all get along. We all like to I'll be like, hey, what are you guys doing? Let's go grab a dinner, or who wants to go for a walk? So like we all, which is really odd.
That's cool.
Because there's always one person, but again, there's only 8 of us. So, and we're there 4 days a week, all of us together. So I lucked out with this group of people.
Yeah, that's insane. Like I have it's not that I don't like my team or haven't liked teams that I've worked with over the years. I just have a strict non-fraternization. Like I won't go there. I learned that lesson as a sous chef, right? Like when I'm drinking with the cooks and then they don't respect you because you got shit-faced, and then so yeah.
No, I get it. And it's my style of management hasn't always worked for people. Like when people come and interview with me, the first thing I say to them is like, I don't want to be your parent. I didn't have kids for a reason. I do not want to be your parent.
I'm not your mother.
We're all adults. We're all adults. I will be very clear on what my expectations are. I will answer your questions as many times as you need it. I will buy you books. I will buy you whatever equipment you need. I will do whatever I can to make sure you can do the job I'm asking you to do. And I will get more mad at you if I have to take time out of my busy day to sit down and talk to you about something you did than what you actually did. Because I find that most of the time, the mistakes that people have made are like really dumb mistakes because they're not paying attention or they just don't care.
Get in a hurry.
Yeah, they're in a hurry. So I don't want to be anybody's parent. I want everybody to be an adult and be responsible for what they're supposed to do.
What a novel concept. Just just ownership, accountability.
Yeah. And so the point of that was, the way I run my kitchen is quite different. Obviously, I let everybody have input, but also I don't want to be breathing down your neck. Like I don't want to do that. If you mess up, you'll find out because you will know. You will see it in my face.
Well, yeah, and also like you don't have time to do that.
No,
like
this
is if you're open for that amount of days, you only have a limited amount of time to get it right. It has to be really tight. So it's like
very tight.
No.
Yeah, they when we were in Portugal, the cooks were telling me one day, they're like, we've all worked for people who yell at us, which sucks. But your thing is almost worse because it's that disappointed father.
Disappointed dad. Oh yeah.
Like
guilt.
Great motivator. I'm so disappointed. And I tell them, when I say this to them every time they do something where I have to talk to them, which isn't very often, but I'm like, you guys came in to work for me and you started up here. And this is your bar up here. So when you do something dumb that's down here, it makes me mad and it's disappointing. If when you walked in, you were down here, then I'd be like, okay, this is what I got to work with. I know but no, you're giving me this all the time. You spoiled me.
It's the most terrifying thing ever when a chef that I work for doesn't yell. I'm like, please yell at me. Please say something. Please anything. Yeah. It's a
I used to
approach.
yell at my ex-husband a lot in the restaurant and decided after the pandemic that I didn't want to do that anymore.
Sure.
I don't know. I have been yelled at. I prefer the constructive criticism and the feedback because, like, if you're gonna yell at me, it depends, like, on what kind of mood I'm in. I'm not gonna match it, but I'm gonna be like, well, I'm gonna just kind of take a step back.
I've gotten yelled at, and my problem is that I didn't take it quietly. So like, there are a couple of times when I got into fights with the owners, and I was like, I'm out of here. I threw a pan full of oil at somebody once. This owner, he was drunk in the kitchen. And he was like, it's a long story, but he wanted me to cut everybody. And I was like, it was a tapas restaurant. I was like, I'm not cutting everybody. We're about to get hit. And he's standing there and he said, if you need all these people to run the kitchen, then I don't need you. I can do it better than you. And I was like, okay, have fun. And I just walked out.
That's wild. Steve was talking about that guy like throwing frozen fish into the fryer. I quit a job one time. And on my way out, I took a handful of ice and just went
nice.
And was like, I'm out.
Well, he had fired one of the waitresses who was a friend of mine, and then this whole thing happened. And so I go out in the dining room. I was like, "Where's Heather?" I'm like, "Heather, I'm leaving. I just got fired too." So I was like, "Do me a favor, grab that painting on the wall." So there's this giant painting So here we're walking out. I've got my stuff. She's got the painting. The painting actually is hanging in my living room now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's probably the only memorable quitting story I have.
Steve, you were talking about the guy that challenged you to the duel, and he dropped the frozen fish in the fryer. And I was telling Chef
The
Greg
duel.
that I was like, the duel. I walked out of a job once and I threw a handful of ice cubes in the fryer and was like, I'm out.
Oof.
Enjoy that.
Hopefully,
I apologize for stepping
bubbled
out
over.
just a moment ago. Exactly
Your
what I
package
called.
arrived?
Right in the middle. That's what. And then
Of
fortunately, my
course.
wife got off. But yeah, no, I've done that before. I've thrown like little ice cubes in the fryer, like just to mess with some of the fry cooks. The ones that I like, they would get like the small ones, but that was just me.
I worked at this one place out in the country. It was just good old country cooking. It's like smothered green beans, chicken fried steak, and yeah, it just taught me a lot about like a family running their own business and kind of like things from scratch. And so you can learn something from everywhere. But we had to have this like half partition wall between the line and the dish area, and we had like the most aerodynamic croutons, so I could get like a lot of air, and it was just like ping the dishwasher in the back of the head, and I just be turning back around to the flat top and be like, doo-doo-doo, like nothing to see here. He would get so mad. It was so fun.
Who's throwing croutons at me?
The dumb shit you do when you're a kid and working on a line.
When you have all this responsibility you shouldn't really have because you don't really know what you're doing.
Oh, for real. Well, Chef Greg, I have a couple of questions. Maybe these are hard hitting. Maybe you've heard them 1,000 times. I have no idea. What do you think, or what do you find to be people's biggest misconception about the food from the Iberico area?
That it's spicy.
Fair.
And that it's Mexican food.
Yeah. They're like, where's the cilantro? No.
Yeah, oh my God. It drives me insane. I mean, in Portuguese cooking, there's cilantro that they brought over from Africa. But when we first opened, people would come in and they'd be like, where's the taco? Where's the whatever? And I was like, I would just get so offended. But I think that's the biggest misconception, that it's spicy and that it's like Mexican food. I think I'm having a hard time thinking of any dishes in Spanish cooking that are spicy. Portuguese has a couple, again, because some of the peppers made it from Africa.
Like that gambas, you could put like a little, you could,
like a little,
it could be like,
not like,
for vanilla folks, it could be too spicy.
True. But it's nothing like, Mexican food. But Portuguese has peri peri, which is a pepper that, came from West Africa. The slaves brought it over. So peri peri chicken is one of the few spicy dishes that I can think of from Portugal.
Okay.
Oh, and then everybody eats tapas and paella every day, all day long.
Paella is like special event stuff,
right?
It's a huge pan. It feeds like 15 people if you're doing it in the right pan. Like you could feed 20 people out of that paella pan. It's crazy.
We've never made it at Amilinda, and we don't do tapas either.
Yeah, good for you.
We'll leave that to other people.
So you don't you're saying that you have starter, entree, dessert, so not really like small plates, like a true starter size.
Yeah, and we're in Wisconsin, and so people in Wisconsin like Wisconsin portions, so you get a lot of food.
Yeah, nice.
Amazing. So is it a healthy mix of local, and do you end up importing some some specialty stuff?
We imported like some of the olive oils that we use are imported. A lot of the spices, specialty vinegars. We try to use as much local produce as possible. So we have one farmer, Amy, and we've been working with her for like, I would say 11 years now, because we were working with her during the pop-up. Then we got two other farmers that we've picked up within the last couple of years. So that's great. Excuse me. In the late spring, summer, and most of fall, it's fantastic. You get some amazing produce. Winter hits, you're like, okay, what else am I going to do with potatoes today? So then, we'll order from the produce company. The meat company's local. We try to use a lot of local cheeses, being a dairy state. So we try to use as much local stuff as possible. But we also know that in order to offer interesting food to our customers, sometimes we got to look outside of the state.
Yeah. Well, is there anybody around you or just in the state that's doing anything that's got Spanish or Portuguese flair? Or have you been able to make like some connections or?
Well, there's a cheese, and I cannot remember the name of the dairy, and they're going to kill me for this, but they make something called the Wischego. So like
Wisconsin Manchego.
Out of sheep's milk. And we've gone and hung out with the little sheeps, and the cheese is incredible. So that, I've got a gentleman who owns Hometown Sausage Kitchen, and he makes all of our linguiça for us, which is Portuguese sausage.
Yeah.
So there's some good people here making some great Iberian-inspired products.
I love that. And then what's your go-to dish that you tell people, like, in order to be introduced to this type of food, you have to start here? Is there a good starting point if somebody's completely new?
Somebody came into the restaurant for the first time.
Sure.
I'm trying to think what would be on the menu that week. I would say a good introduction to Spanish cuisine would be this dish called pork carcamusa, which comes from Toledo, and it's a pork stew. It has chorizo in it, but we put what's called chistorra, which is a smaller chorizo, almost the diameter of a pencil.
Oh man.
So we do that, braised pork shoulder. It's got 2 different sauces that we make ahead of time. One's a tomato based and one's a piquillo pepper based.
I love piquillo peppers. Oh my God. So
we serve it with potatoes, sometimes cabbage. So that would be a good one for Spanish. For people who are like, I know about tapas and I know about paella. I want to see something else. And then for Portuguese, I would say porca lentejana is a good one. It comes from the Alenteja region, and they like to do seafood and meat together in the same dish. So this is a dish that's normally a pork stew served with clams. So we've kind of refined it. We had a
2 things I would not put together at all.
Right? And it's got like this really delicious smoky pepper paste that you rub the pork with before you cook it. So those would be my 2 choices.
That sounds amazing. I'm going to avenge your name with the dairy. Is it Hidden Springs? Is that the dairy?
Probably. Yes. Did you just Google?
I was like stealth Googling.
I
was like,
yes.
I was like,
Hidden Springs are amazing. They're out in the driftless area.
We can't let them go without a shout out.
Right.
I was like, I think it's the picture of the one with the sheep.
Probably that one. Yes. No, that's it. Hidden Springs. Very nice people.
It sounds so good. I love supporting the local community. And then what other kind of inroads are you able to make with the community? Do you do any, fundraising, extracurriculars, charity? Like what are you guys
do? So I wish I could say when I wrote the business plan, we had put this model into it. We're like, okay, we're going to use the restaurant, not just as a restaurant, but as a place to help others who are less fortunate than us.
So, a force for good. I love it.
A force for good. So it's, we've been designated a safe space.
Love that.
We again have helped other cooks and chefs who wanted to start their own business. In 2019, with our friend Kai, we started a program called Tables Across Borders, where on the days Amilinda is closed, we invite a family who has either been here for a bit, but they were refugees or just relocated. They come in, they cook the food of their country. We sell tickets. 100% of the money that's made that night goes to this family.
That's incredible.
So myself or the staff sees nothing. We've done this since 2019. So we'll do it in the early spring, fall, and winter, and they sell out. So that's one of my fun programs that we do. Also, during the pandemic, we started something called Hungry Hearts, which was kind of a meal program. So it was a roster of 10 restaurants, Amilinda being one of them. And every Saturday, 3 of the restaurants on the list would each provide 100 meals in to-go containers. Hungry Hearts, the organization, would pay the restaurant $1,000. So they were making a little bit of money. All the money was either through grants or donations. And then we would give those meals out to the community. So we had that program for about 2 years. We gave out about 40,000 meals. And we gave to the restaurants, including Amilinda, I think it was a total of $500,000. So we do that. We raise a lot of money for Vibrant Health, which is a local HIV organization. There's not a charity that I won't raise money for, especially if it's like dogs. We raised money for the Oolong Doxy Rescue, which is where Cody came from. Just had another rescue in Illinois bring some dogs, and so we raised some money for them. So, I kind of have a bleeding heart. Sometimes I need to learn how to say no, but we're constantly donating dinners to organizations so they can raffle them off. And we like doing stuff. I'm in a position where I can do this. So why wouldn't I? Last year, we did a lot of interviews around the 10th anniversary, and the restaurant's kind of known for that work. And so people would ask me, why do you do this? And it was a very hard question for me to answer because I couldn't come up with a reason.
Yeah.
And then finally one day I told the reporter, we do it because we can, not because there's a reason. Like we just do it because we can.
Well, it's because you cook for people, not numbers. Like it's
yeah. And that's the thing, we worry about turning tables. If we did it, my life would probably be a lot easier. I'd probably have more money. But we want people to linger. There's times when I have to go to a table and be like, you've been here for 3 hours. The next table's here. Can I seat you at the bar for a drink? But we want people to kind of relax and become part of the family. During the pandemic, at the beginning, when the first round of stimulus checks went out, all of a sudden we had customers send us their checks signed. And they would tell us, we want you to take these checks and put them towards the restaurant.
Open. Yeah.
Because your restaurant is our favorite place and it's like our home. And we want to make sure that it's still there when life gets back to normal.
Getting the chills.
Wow.
I mean, I think
crazy.
this is one of the first times I've been able to tell the story and not like get all weepy. So people care about us that much, so we're going to care about other people.
Man, that's what it's about.
That's passion. That's love, man.
Thank you.
That's what it's about.
Awesome.
And I think that if that's the energy you put into the world, like you'll be taken care of. Like the restaurant will be taken care of. It'll be good.
I mean, I wasn't always, there were a couple of years in my youth where I was kind of a pain in the ass. So I'm trying to make up for that.
Well, all you can do is be a better you the next day, right?
Yep.
Like that's.
We try. So. And I feel like by operating a restaurant like that, my staff, whenever they decide to leave, which is hopefully never, and go up in their own place, hopefully they'll take that model with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you can hope for, right? And
yeah.
And I think it's so important too, like just anybody who is in any type of business, not to begrudge people when they move on to something bigger and better.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
No.
But like, you'll never make it without me. You're making a huge mistake. Just, dude, shut up.
The first couple of times my sous chefs left, it was like I took it really personal because, I'm working with this person. Back then it was 5 days a week, 10 hours a day. I see you more than you see your wife. And we would become really close and good friends. And then they're like, one of my favorite sous chefs of all time, his wife got pregnant, first kid. And he's like, I need a job where I can get health insurance, make tons of money. So he became a plumber. We still talk once a week, comes by, brings the kids.
Yeah.
So I don't, even the times when people have left under not the greatest circumstances, I'm still wishing them well. I don't, there's no sense in being angry because they want to move on.
Yeah. I have this philosophy around doing job interviews. Usually you can tell within the first 5 seconds. It's a vibe check. It's a feeling you can get after you've done this for a long time. But like, it doesn't mean that you have to ruin that person's day, right? Like you might call them back later. Or you might be like, if you don't hear from me by this day, we decided on something else. But like, there's no reason to like ruin somebody's day. About it. Yeah, like it's just gross. Like I have this thing where I hate making people feel bad. Even if it's somebody, it's like my mortal enemy, I still don't feel bad for making you feel bad because I know what that's like. I know what it's like to feel shitty about yourself, and I would never want to be responsible for anybody feeling crappy about themselves. Yeah. There's another side to that. What we were talking about earlier on in this pod is that that kind of always challenging yourself to be better, like not letting your ego get in the way. But like, there's a whole flip side to that where people never escape their own imposter syndrome.
Oh my God.
If you walk around every day just going, I'm a piece of crap, I'm a piece of crap, I'm a piece of crap, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's like,
totally. I have a friend like that.
Why would you just contribute to that for anybody else? That you have the power to not do that. So don't do that.
I have a friend like that. She came over last week to cook dinner for us, for me and another friend. And she made my favorite dish, pasta amatriciana, and she's making it and we're eating it. And I'm like, oh my God. So I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. She's like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, you're right. This is garbage. How dare you come to my house? And she looked at me and I was like, I'm never paying you a compliment again.
The audacity.
Like, no. I was like, and I'm like, learn how to take a compliment. This is really good. If it was crappy, I would tell you.
Just say thank you and move on.
Yeah. Or just learn. And you mentioned imposter syndrome. It's still every now and then there's a little voice in the back of my head.
Of course.
I have a friend, we call it KFUC radio, all hate all the time. And so when I'm having a bad day, I'll text my friend. I was like, the radio station's playing really loud today.
I love it.
I think you have to keep that in check, because if not, that'll cripple you and you'll never be able to be as great as you're probably meant to be.
I gave my anxiety a name. She's Janet.
I like
so
that,
I can just
Janet.
be like, shut up, Janet.
Shut up, Janet. Yeah.
Sorry to every Janet I've ever had in my life, but I don't know how it came across. But like, yeah, it's a beast that you have to learn how to tame.
Totally. When we first opened the restaurant, this is the first time I had opened my own restaurant. It was the first time I was running my own restaurant, and I would look at my husband at the time, and I'd be like, we'd be 2 weeks into it. I was like, I was just like faking it, like figuring it out as we go, and he'd be like,
"Are we doing this?
Like, this is where they're gonna figure out I've been faking it all along, and I'm horrible at this job. What am I doing?" That doesn't happen to me anymore, but every once in a while, I'd be like,
Where this self-deprecating humor comes in, like about maybe every 2 weeks, I'll get paid. I'll get paid, and I'll be like, "You guys didn't fire me again? Sweet, must be doing something right."
I still crack those jokes. I still get corrected. Like, dude, you need to be a little bit better on yourself. It's like, yeah, you're right. So over the last few months, especially, it's just like, okay, I'm not gonna crack a joke against myself. I know what I'm doing. I'm competent. We're good. Just keep moving.
That's like a shout out to your friend Chef Greg, because people are always like, "Oh, I can't cook for a chef. No, I don't want to cook for a chef. Like, oh, I'd be too nervous to cook for a chef."
Everybody says that.
I want somebody to come cook for me, please.
Oh yeah,
that's what I tell people. I'm
Please.
Like, you can make me a grilled cheese sandwich, and I'll be happy. I didn't have to make it, and food tastes better when other people make it. So, totally. She's also a chef, so that's why I think she feels pretty confident to come in here and cook. And I think it's like, I've been in this apartment maybe 4 years. I think it's the third time anybody's ever cooked in this kitchen, because I never cook at home.
I came home from an exceptionally long week and shift this past Saturday, and immediately like needed to do 1,000 things, but my body said, "Hi, puppies."
They have something to say.
Your dogs too. Yeah. I keep having to mute myself because I can hear my little
mine
just barking downstairs.
Mine only have to they only have to patrol the backyard when we're recording this podcast. It's like they know.
Oh, well, they don't even know what they're barking at. We're in an apartment. We're on the second floor in the back. So it's not like they can see. They're on the floor right now in their bed. So it's not like they can see what's going on outside. Every once in a while, he just has to let out a growl to make sure everybody knows.
They want to talk about Portuguese flavors. I know.
They want to talk about Portuguese. They're fans.
Guest of the guest, Yeah.
So, but yeah, gosh, I forgot where I was going with this. I can't remember. Sorry.
We're talking about imposter syndrome.
That's right. We were. Oh, I got home on Saturday, and I had just worked like a super long week, super long shift. And my brain was like, "You need to do these 800 things." My body was like, "No, you're about to fall asleep on the arm of your couch in your full clothing. And when you wake up, it'll be dark outside." So when I woke up, it was dark outside, the entire rest of the day gone. Didn't know what time it was. One of those epic unplanned naps where you're like, "Who am I? What's my name? Like, where am I?
Where am I?"
Where am I? I begrudgingly made like turkey kielbasa with Dijon, like caramelized onions, cooked it in a beer, like
that
opened
involves
a
pan. I'm impressed.
Like opened a can of zero sugar Bush's baked beans because I had the type 2 beatus. I put some sweet potatoes, and like I blanch potatoes at the beginning of the month in all sort of different shapes. So I took them out of the freezer, I put them in the air fryer. So I was like home fries and baked beans and like sausage, but I was pissed. I was like,
This sounds like you're making Thanksgiving dinner in my book.
That's like, it was probably like 25 whole minutes, but I was pissed, like begrudgingly doing it. Then I had to take a moment and remember, like, somebody would kill to be able to put this together in 20 minutes without panicking or just having the knowledge, like, to just throw something together. I was like, yeah, you're blessed to get to eat this. Like, shut up, dude. Like,
I'm sitting here going through what's in my freezer and refrigerator. If there's anything in there that I could make grilled cheese, I could make peanut butter and jelly. My freezer is full of dog food.
Did you make it or you bought it?
No, there's that brand, the Farmers situation that they get because they're spoiled.
I spoil my dogs too. I mean,
but there's nothing. I don't have anything in here. Like as my friends say, you don't even have ingredients to cook with, because I never cook at home.
Yeah. I have a freezer that is stocked full of there's 4 blocks of tofu, 2 blocks of tempeh, 3 pounds of ground beef. There's potatoes in every shape. There's broccoli. There's wings. But I'm like, I don't want to cook it
again. Yeah, no, I get it.
I don't want to cook it.
I get it. That's
it
why
never tastes good.
Cereal's on the menu at my house every night for dinner.
What's your go-to cereal? We just had an episode about the 11 worst cereals ever made.
Ooh, I want to hear what those were. There's always Frosted Flakes.
Okay.
There's always some sort of
Classic.
adult Cheerio because, you know, like I feel like every now and then I have to eat a healthy
Like
cereal.
multigrain?
No, but like not like super sugary,
Yeah.
like, you know, Honey Nut or like just plain Cheerios. What else do I have up there? I just bought frosted Rice Krispie, which I'd never
I
had.
remember those, too.
Like,
Those are delicious.
okay.
And
Okay.
Yeah.
then, Apple Jacks. We just finished a box of Apple
Oh,
Jacks.
man.
And I like to put sugar on my sugary cereal. Like I want
Oh,
I
man.
want the spoon to like I want it to be like sand on the bottom of the bowl. I don't have type 2 diabetes, so or at least I don't know if I do.
Let you know if,
Somebody recently asked me what my favorite season was, and I said it's Girl Scout cookie season. Duh.
Which is right now.
I always make them work for the sale. I like they don't know I'm going to buy them anyway, but I'm like, you need to tell me your name and like how old you are and like what it was the thing you learned this year and whatever. Like make a sell, right? This girl clocked me from a mile away. She was out in front of the supermarket, and I said, and we went through the spiel, and her mom was kind of laughing. She was kind of shy, and I said, like, hey, like, what's your favorite flavor? She's like, I have 5 favorite flavors. I was like, ma'am,
Nice.
you are 7 years old. How's one of your favorite flavors the one with coconut in it? Like, how?
She's like 7 going on 40.
But yeah, somebody.
Right?
So she got me 5. I bought 5 boxes, and then somebody was like, you can't eat those. You have type 2 diabetes. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get type 3.
Type 3.
Like, let's go.
I just placed one of my friends here, her daughter. This is her first year in Girl Scouts, and it's like I will buy. So she sends me a thing. I go online. I'm buying the cookies, and I was like, okay, I bought $100 worth of cookies, so I need to like send this order in. I'll give it to my staff.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
I promise I won't eat them all myself.
That's what you say, and then you end up eating them all by yourself.
And then it's like, you know, midnight on a Friday, and you're like, oh, these are delicious. This is a nutritious dinner. There's coconut in it. That's a fruit.
You're like, I've made bad decisions.
I've made very bad decisions.
So Chef Greg, if you're able to share, like, what are you cooking this week, or can you give us a little peek? Are they always secret until you open? Or
no, not at all. So this week, I think the menu's staying the same. So we have a lamb shoulder, we have a pork chop, we always have skirt steak. We're serving that with one of my favorite Portuguese sides, which is called milho frito, which is called fried. It means fried corn, and it's this little corn cake that you make, and it's got kale and cheese, and you fry it, and it's delicious.
Oh my gosh!
The one thing we're doing right now that's super exciting, we started last week, is we don't have happy hour. We tried it, never really stuck. But when we were in Portugal, we discovered the Portuguese sandwich culture. So they've got these 3 great sandwiches. One is called a prego, which is a beef tenderloin sandwich. One is called a bifana, which is a pork shoulder sandwich. And then they have the francesinha, which is like a fork and knife sandwich. It has both pork, beef, and linguiça in it. And it's served on white bread. We grill it, and then we put it in a big bowl. There's a beer, tomato sauce on the bottom, and then a cheese sauce that we put on top of it, and then a bunch of shoestring potatoes. In Portugal, they like fries a lot. They serve potatoes with a lot of things. So we took the francesinha and kind of like refined it, made the fries a little bit smaller. So on Thursdays between 5 and 7, if you sit at the counter or you sit at the bar, you can order these sandwiches. Only at the counter, only at the bar, only from 5 to 7.
Nice.
I like my rule. And so we're really excited about that because this is our second week doing it. The guys did a great job imitating or like coming up with our own versions of these dishes. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully it's going to take off. What else? We're making cantaloupe sorbet. I know that. I'm trying to think if we had talked about anything before I left on Saturday. Yeah, I don't think much is changing on the menu this week.
Cantaloupe sorbet sounds incredible. Do you guys have full bar?
We do have a full bar. And so I'm not a drinker. I grew up in Venezuela where alcohol is not a big deal. So growing up, my parents drank. My friends and I never thought about going and getting booze. Unlike when I moved to the U.S. when I was 19, I was like, you guys are obsessed with drinking. What's the big deal? Came out of the closet, went off to college, drank a lot, hate it, hate the flavor of it, don't like being drunk. So I know very little about wine, very little. But I have this amazing human being who runs the bar program called Yara. And she's actually about to become partners in the restaurant. She came to me, she said she wanted to be a partner. So everybody in the front of the house, Yada, Alexander, and Mariah, all contribute to this. It's the same thing as with the dinner menu. They contribute to the full bar menu. They've got some incredible cocktails.
The only thing I can think about thinking about cantaloupe sorbet in Portugal is like a port with a floater. Kind of sounds
That
like
would be good.
a little white trash, but I think it could get there.
I might have to ask Yada about that. Yada, what do you
Not
think
at
about this? Yeah, all of our wines are Spanish and Portuguese only. Yeah, they do a great job with the bar program.
Or like some sort of, port boysenberry sorbet or some such. I don't know,
That
whatever
would
the
be
local Milwaukee, the local the barrier
Fruit.
Yeah, the local fruit.
They're not really
Probably
any
a lot of apples.
apple,
This
yeah,
year
apples,
round.
pears.
Yeah.
There was the Milwaukee apple at one point.
Well, then you got to go like Calvados, right? No, that's French, I guess, but
That's French. I mean, we do have some French liqueur. No, they've got, in Spain, they've got an apple liqueur. What's it called? I can't think of the name of it, but she's Googling it right now. I think there's an X in the name. There's an X in the name, and I think it comes from the Basque country. Ordoki, I think is what it's called.
Okay. Maybe. I have no idea.
No,
I think it's called Ordoki, but there's an X in there.
Igaski? Manzana.
Yeah, it's
like EGIAZKI.
No, I don't know that one. The one I know is Ordoki.
Okay.
So we could do
artisanal natural Basque liqueur without preservatives. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's a brand, I think, maybe. Not sure.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we could do that with some Milwaukee apple sorbet, but
yeah,
I don't think I can find any Milwaukee apples right now.
I'm like, put me on your menu by proxy from a distance. I'm just kidding.
This chef, this is her drink. I can just imagine. Like, yeah, I know you don't know this woman, but she's going to start contributing to the drink menu. She's from Puerto Rico. She would just be like, adios, and then just walk away.
Adios mío. Yeah.
Adios.
Yeah. Yeah. Or adios, which is what I'm used to.
Adios, which is what we don't want her to say. Yeah, she came to me in December, and she's like, can I talk to you about something? It's like, crap, she's leaving. I'm like, what? And she's like, no. She's like, quite the opposite. She's like, I know this is your baby, and, especially after the pandemic, you've been, very protective of it. What would you think of me, like, becoming a partner? And I couldn't get the keys out of my backpack fast enough. I was like, here you go, bye. I'm going to go travel. Have fun.
Go to Home Depot and make a copy of these.
Yeah,
bring them back.
I'm like, this is a great idea. So we're working on that right now.
I love that so much. That takes so much courage. That's a huge ask.
For her? Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I think she probably knew I was going to say yes. It's her.
That's incredible. I love that so much. Well, Chef Greg, we've had a wonderful time. I don't want to take any more of your time today. You've been so gracious. Thank you for coming on. I can't wait. I have never been to Wisconsin.
You should come to Wisconsin. It's actually, Milwaukee's got some great restaurants I'll take you to. Come in the summer. Do not come in the winter.
Okay, you got it.
So July, August is a good time. September.
Amazing. We'll stick around after I stop recording, and we'll chat for just a while longer.
Excellent.
But hey, it was a pleasure having you on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invite.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.